Alright, I'm going to be doing a front differential fluid change on this 2018 Cayenne Base. The tools that I'm going to need for this job set up right here. I believe this car has 72,000 miles. I think Porsche recommends doing the front differential fluid at 160K. I think that's absurd. I've seen the front differentials on these oil drive German heavy SUVs. I just did it on the X7 with 40,000 miles, and it was pretty dark. So I think definitely going to do it on this Cayenne. Tools, I think this might be a little overkill because it's pretty simple, but rather be over prepared and not have to run back and forth to the store. So I got two different types of fluid pumps here, which is perfect because I'll be doing the transfer case next. So whichever one I don't use for this job, I'll use for the other one. So we'll see which one I use. Just some gloves just in case. This electric ratchet just to make it easier to take off the underbelly. Other than that, I think it's either a 10 mil or a T30 Torx to take off the under tray, both just in case. This is probably the most important part. I bought this just off of recommendations from the forum, I think. This is just a very small, thin ratchet, so it's easy to get to that fill hole, which is notorious for just being in a tough position. I bought this and this off of Amazon. I think total for both is probably $15-20. I figured it was worth it just to make my life easier. I had to get both because this tool came with a couple of these heads, but obviously none of them are what we need. We need this 8mm here, this 8mm hex. So I'm going to use this with this tool, and then I opted for Porsche fluid. I know I probably just overpaid compared to other stuff, but I think it's worth it just for the peace of mind, and I don't factor in any extra variables there. I got an extra drain plug. I think I got two actually. I'm going to look for the other one, but I got it just in case I need to replace it. We'll check what the gasket looks like, but I'm going to take off the under tray and I'll check in a sec here. Alright, I'm going to try to show this as best I can. Got the under trays off, so going in from the front of the car, so that's the back of the car that way. There we go. I left the small ratchet I have in the socket in the fill hole, so you can see where it is in relation to the car. It's on the passenger side here and further up. I don't know if you can tell, but there's really not that much room up here. It's not terrible, but I think that tool works perfect, so I'm going to drain it, or I'm going to open up that fill hole just before we drain it, just to make sure we can fill it afterwards. And then we'll crack this drain hole loose just to see what the fluid that comes out looks like, and then we'll refill it. Okay, so I got the fill bolts out. A couple things here. I actually ended up breaking this as I was trying to take the fill plug out, so don't know that I would recommend this. I will say I ended up just grabbing an 8mm hex because it seemed like there was a little bit more room than I thought, and I had an 8mm wrench. So actually, in order to just break the bolt off, I was able to fit my ratchet and my 8mm there. What I'll recommend is if you can get an 8mm stubby socket, I think that'll be really helpful, but I just had the normal one and it worked just to crack it open. And then once I wiggled this out, I was able to take it off the ratchet head, just slip this over it and just crack it the rest of the way loose. The other thing here, so that's what the fill bolt looks like. Nothing dripped out as I was unscrewing it, which was nice, but that's pretty dark. So looking forward to see what the color looks like. Alright, just another disclaimer here. Torque wrench. Forgot to mention that. I have a torque wrench. I mean, for sure I'll be able to torque down the drain bolt. Not 100% sure on the fill bolt, but the good news is I'll be able to get a feel for it once tightening up the drain bolt, just to see what the correct torque spec feels like, and I'll try to apply that same amount of pressure on the fill plug. Okay, I always forget to wrap up after I do it. So as I put the underbelly panels back on, just wanted to recap. I ended up using this syringe type for this one. It was actually super helpful, and interestingly, I actually ended up using probably around 750 milliliters, and then I put in all the rest that dripped out. So I think probably 600 to 650 came out, and I probably put in maybe 700 milliliters based on what remained in the pump and what dripped back out. But overall, I honestly think this is an easier job than an oil change. It's less messy because there's less fluid. The drain plug is right down below, so it's super easy for all the fluid to drip out super quickly, and just pumping the fluid back in took a couple minutes. I'm just putting the trays back on. As I was putting the tray back on, I saw the transfer case that's actually not even covered with the middle tray. It's actually just behind, so I think just because it's super easy, I'm just going to go ahead and do the transfer case fluid now too. I bought the drain plug and fill plugs. I have the fluid, so I think I might as well do it. I already did the rear differential a couple weeks ago. Might as well just knock everything out right now. But overall, I'd say a pretty simple job. I'll make a video on the transfer case fluid, but yeah.